All right, so this is a quick view of a System 1 asset. And this is a power generation device. Um, it's pretty standard. We left it very generic and basic. There is really no functionality or sound effect with this asset, but this is just an example of what a synthetic asset is and the quality and the level of realism that we can create. And what you can see there is the detail is very high, um, but the functionality can be populated for this device. So if you wanted to make the doors on this compartment functional and lockable, you can do that. If you want to make these panels be able to unlatch and open, you can do that. If you want to create some troubleshooting potential for the trainee, you can make these tires flat if you wanted to kind of troubleshoot and prepare your trainees for the eventuality of, oh, what happens when this this mistake is detected. These doors, these locks can all be made functional. These keepers right here, these to keep the door in a fixed open position, that can also be made functional. Back around to the shackles and all the other components of the device can be made functional. Now onto here, the control panel, digital readouts, displays, door panels again, can all be made functional. They can be populated with the proper labeling that's going to be necessary for your trainees. That's going to be accurate for the device that they're training on, and that is a big deal, obviously, for training purposes. You can also through this app, you can do what's called projected presence. Whereas if you wanted to train someone from a different location, say from Seattle, you had a student in Seattle, but you had an instructor in St. Augustine, Florida, what you would use is called projected presence, where you'd make a phone call and say, okay, it's time to have that class that we're going to go over this device. And you come in and you say, put your headset on and I'll put mine on. And from your office, from your home, and wherever you are, you can both appear in an environment, a virtual environment, with your metahuman or your avatar, and see each other and basically practice with the assets that are in front of you. And that's called projected presence. So it can be, I mean, well, obviously you can see the potential because it would eliminate the need for traveling. It would eliminate the need for using bulky video links and cameras and things to that effect out in the field, where you can just create a synthetic asset that mimics the exact functionality and look and feel of your asset. Now you can we can also populate this with all types of variables. We can create sound effects for startup procedures. We can also create sound effects for throttle up and throttle down scenarios when the device comes under load. We can mimic scenarios where, let's say, the device fails to come under load or fails to come up to power due to an error in the protocols followed by the student. We can create what would happen in the real world if the student didn't do his job properly. We can mimic that with all these devices. So whereas let's say the device came under load and the high idle didn't engage, well, there would be a lot of things going wrong. Maybe there's some bells, some whistles that are activated. We can populate that, and then the student would have to then go through the procedures that the manual says and detect the problem and correct the problem. And then once the problem is corrected, the device would behave as it would in the real world. So you can see the applications for this are pretty big. And obviously we can do this with anything. We can do this with tractors. We can do this with police cars, fire trucks. We've already got a fire truck. We've already got an ambulance. We're working with powered devices like this. We're also doing some stuff with some entertainers. We're talking to some rappers and stuff about projected presence for parties and DJs and things to that effect. I mean, basically, it's anything in the entire universe, or rather the world, that is out there. We can make. And the boundaries are, well, there's no boundaries. We don't have those anymore. And when I'm talking about no boundaries, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We don't have boundaries. Check that out. Can you do that in the real world? No, you cannot. So, now, obviously, if we need to populate an engine in there, we will put an engine in there. If you want to be able to stick your head into that engine and look at the cylinders going up and down, we can do that too. It's not going to be cheap, but we can do it. Anyway, so it's a lot of fun. I think there is not a day goes by where I don't just look at this and go, man, this is just bananas. But it's fun. And there's no reason this can't be fun, right? All right. So you can get a closer look at the level of detail that we can give you. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You guys get it. All right. That's about it. This is a System 1 basic asset preview. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it.